Imagine this scene. You are stuck in traffic, already late for an important meeting. Suddenly a car closes you, almost causing an accident. Your heart speeds up, your hand sweats, and a wave of anger takes over you. Before you realize, you are already shouting with the driver, even though I know he cannot hear you. Minutes later, anger gives way to regret. Why did I lose control like that? If you've been through such a situation, you know how emotions can master us, leading to impulsive decisions and unnecessary regrets. But what if I tell you that there is a way to master your emotions rather than dominated by them? Today, I will introduce you to 7 Stoic methods to master your emotions once and for all. These techniques, developed more than 2,000 years ago by philosophers such as Seneca, Epicteto, and Marco Aurelio, are incredibly powerful and relevant today. They will help you deal with anger, anxiety, frustration, and other intense emotions, bringing more mental clarity, resilience, and balance to your life. Before we dive into the methods, I want to invite you to reflect for a moment. Think of a recent situation when you have lost control of your emotions. It may have been a discussion at work, a home disagreement, or even an exaggerated reaction to something small. At the end of this video, you will have practical tools to better deal with moments like this. Ready to start this journey? Let's go. Have you heard of Stoicism? This philosophy, which emerged in ancient Greece and was popularized in Rome, is not just a set of abstract ideas, but a practical guide to life. Stoics believed that the key to a full existence is to focus on what we can control and accept what is beyond our reach. In other words, they teach us to differentiate between ours and what is from the world. But what does this have to do with emotions? Stoics understood that our emotions are not directly caused by external events, but by our judgments about these events. For example, it is not traffic that makes you angry, but your interpretation that traffic is unfair or unbearable. By changing the way we interpret situations, we can change as we feel about them. And why is Stoicism so relevant today? We live in a world full of uncertainty, pressures, and distractions. Whether at work, relationships, or everyday life, we are constantly challenged to deal with situations that seem to escape our control. Anxiety, stress, and frustration are common reactions, but need not be inevitable. The Stoic methods you will learn in this video are as tools to face these challenges with serenity. They do not require you to ignore your emotions or become a cold and distant person. On the contrary, they help you understand your emotions, accept what cannot be changed, and act wisely in what is within your reach. Imagine being able to face a discussion at work without losing calm, or dealing with a personal disappointment without letting yourself down. These are just some of the transformations that Stoicism can bring to your life. Now that you understand the context behind these methods, it's time to plunge into the 7 Stoic methods to master your emotions. Each is an essential piece to build a more balanced and significant life. Shall we start? Art of acceptance. The first Stoic method is known as love fati, which means love for destiny. Instead of fighting what happens, the Stoics teach us to accept events as part of a larger plan. This does not mean being passive or resigned, but to embrace life as it is, with its ups and downs. Imagine that you worked weeks in a project at work, but at the last moment it was cancelled. The natural reaction would be of frustration and anger. However, by applying love fati, you can see this situation as an opportunity to learn something new or dedicate yourself to another important task. Acceptance reduces internal resistance and releases energy to focus on what really matters. Instead of wasting time and emotions with what cannot be changed, you become more resilient and adaptable. A dichotomy of control. The second Stoic method is the dichotomy of control, a central concept in Stoic philosophy. He teaches us how to divide things of life into two categories, what is under our control and what is not. According to the Stoics, inner peace begins when we focus our energy only in what we can control and accept what is beyond our reach. Think of a chaotic traffic day. You cannot control congestion, traffic lights, or behavior of other drivers. However, you can control how it reacts to this situation. Take a deep breath, listen to a song that likes, or use time to reflect on something important. By applying control, dichotomy, you drastically reduce stress and frustration. Instead of wearing out what cannot change, you direct your energy to actions that really make a difference, such as your attitude, your choices, and your perspective. Herd negative. Visualization. The third Stoic method is negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum, which means the premeditation of ills. This technique involves imagining the worst possible scenarios before they happen. It may seem intuitive, but by visualizing what could go wrong, you prepare emotionally and mentally to face any challenge. Imagine that you have an important presentation at work. Instead of just waiting for everything to go well, you prepare mentally for possible problems. What if the projector fails? What if you forget about the content? By viewing these scenarios, you can plan solutions in advance, such as having a presentation backup or practicing answers to difficult questions. Negative visualization reduces anxiety and increases confidence. When you have thought of the worst scenarios and prepared for them, it is easier to deal with unforeseen events and stay calm under pressure. A Stoi pause. The fourth Stoic method is the Stoic pause, a simple but powerful technique to avoid impulsive reactions. The idea is to create a space between the stimulus, what happens, and your answer as you react. This pause allows you to evaluate the situation clearly and choose the most appropriate response rather than acting on impulse. Imagine that you get an annoying message from a co-worker. The first reaction may be to respond defensive or aggressively. However, when applying the Stoic break, you take a deep breath, tell up to 10, and reflect, what is the best way to answer this? Is it worth feeding this discussion? Stoic pause helps to avoid regrets and unnecessary conflicts. By giving yourself a moment to think, you make more conscious decisions and maintain control over your emotions, even in tense situations. A cosmic perspective, top view. The fifth Stoic method is the cosmic perspective, also known as the top view. This technique involves looking at situations from a broader perspective, as if you were watching the land of space. In doing so, you realize that many of the problems that seem gigantic at the moment are actually small in relation to the whole. Imagine that you are going through a difficult phase at work, with tight deadlines and constant charges. By applying the cosmic perspective, you reflect, in 5 years, will it still matter? How does this situation fit my life as a whole? This change in perspective can help reduce anxiety and see challenges more balanced. The cosmic perspective brings clarity and serenity. By seeing situations at a broader angle, you reduce the importance of momentary problems and focus on what really matters to your long-term life. Judgments and emotions. The sixth Stoic method is based on the idea that our emotions are the result of our judgments. That is, it is not the external events that affect us directly, but the way we interpret these events. By changing our judgments, we can transform our emotions. Imagine that you get a criticism at work. Your first impulse may be attacked or undervalued. However, by applying this method, you reflect, what if this criticism is an opportunity to improve? What if my colleague's intention would help, even if the form was not ideal? By reinterpreting the situation, you can turn frustration into motivation. This method helps you not to take things to the personal side. By changing the way you interpret situations, you gain control over your emotions and avoid impulsive or disproportionate reactions. Practice of gratitude. The seventh Stoic method is the practice of gratitude, a powerful tool for cultivating a positive and resilient mindset. The Stoics believed that by focusing on what we have good in our lives, we can find peace and contentment, even in the midst of difficulties. Imagine that you had a difficult day at work with several things going wrong. By applying the practice of gratitude, you reflect, what can I thank today? It can be simple, like a pleasant conversation with a colleague, your family's support, or even the fact that you have a roof over your head. Writing 3 things you are grateful you can completely change your perspective. Gratitude helps combat negativity and strengthen emotional resilience. By focusing on what's good in your life, you reduce the impact of adversities and cultivate a more positive and balanced mindset. We have reached the end of our journey through the 7 Stoic methods to master their emotions for good. Let's recap quickly. The art of acceptance. Love, fati. Accept what happens as part of the destination. The dichotomy of control. Focus on what you can control and accept what you can't. 3. Negative visualization. Premeditatio malorum. Imagine the worst scenarios to prepare emotionally. The Stoic pause. Create a space between the stimulus and the answer to avoid impulsive reactions. Cosmic perspective. Top view. Looking at situations from a broader perspective. 6. Judgment and emotions. Turning your emotions by changing your judgments. Practice of gratitude. Cultivate a positive mindset by focusing on what is good. These methods are not just philosophical theories. These are practical tools that you can start applying today. They will help you deal with anger, anxiety, frustration, and other intense emotions, bringing more mental clarity, resilience, and balance to your life. Now I want to challenge you. Choose one of these methods and practice it for 7 days. It may be the Stoic break before reacting to an annoying message, or the practice of gratitude at the end of each day. Then come back here and share in the comments how your experience was. If you liked this content, subscribe to the channel for more tips on personal development and practical philosophy. And don't forget to check out the next video, where we will explore how to deal with anxiety using simple and effective techniques. Remember, you can't control everything around you, but you can always control as you react. The choice is yours.